Hello and welcome to more Spooktober. Today we are talking about a creature in Asian mythology that has even made its way into popular culture a bit. Its name is the Qilin. Um, but yeah, it is a legendary hooved um, chimerical creature that appears in Chinese mythology and is said to appear with the imminent arrival of the passing of a sage or illustrious ruler. The Qilin are a specific type of Lin, of the Lin mythological family of one-horned beasts. The Qilin also appears in the mythologies of other Chinese influenced cultures. So, a lot of your other Asian countries, Japan, Korea, yeah. The earliest mention of the mythical Qilin is in the poem Lin Jishi, Feet of the Lin, included in the classic of poetry from the 11th to 7th BCE Spring and Autumn Annals, mentioned that Aline was captured in the 14th year of Duke Ai of Lu. Zhuo Zhuang credited Confucius with identifying the Lin as such. The bisyllabic form Qilin, which carries the same generic meaning as Lin alone, is attested in works dated to the Warren States period, 475 to 221 BCE. And if you've ever played Dynasty Warriors, I think that's the period it's supposed to be based on, is the Warren States period. So, Qi denotes a male, and Lin denotes a female, e.g., in Shoin Jesse. I'm butchering the language, I know. I apologize. So far, I've only learned bits and pieces of Japanese. My Chinese is very not at all. The legendary image of the Qilin became associated with the image of a giraffe in the Ming Dynasty. The identification of the Qilin with giraffes began after Zhang Hei's 15th century voyage to East Africa, landing among other places in modern day Somalia. The Ming Dynasty bought giraffes from Somali merchants along with zebras, incense, and other exotic animals. So many animals, they like, are these the ones from mythology that we have? Because if you don't have everyday contact with it, you're like, what is this? So yeah, they brought back two giraffes to Nanjing, and they were mistaken by the emperor for the mythical creature, with Geri meaning giraffe in Somali. So yeah, they've often been given a lot of connection. See here, a King Dynasty statue of a Qilin in Beijing Summer Palace. So, very much with the horns, it's very chimera-like shape. Now, as we get along, they do take on like a dragon shape a bit with the horn. This is a Qilin Tome Guardian from the 4th century. Qilin generally have Chinese dragon-like features, similar heads with antlers, eyes, and thick eyelashes, manes that always flow upward, and beards. The body is fully or partially scaled and often shaped like an ox, deer, or horse. They are always shown with cloven hooves, while dragons in China, and thus Qilin, are also most commonly depicted as golden. Qilin may be the color or even various colors and can be depicted as bejeweled or exhibiting a jewel-like brilliance. The Qilin is depicted throughout a wide range of Chinese art, sometimes with parts of their bodies on fire. So yeah, another depiction of how they believe the Qilin may have looked. Qilin as unicorns. In modern times, the depictions of Qilin have often fused with the Western concept of unicorns. Qilin is often translated into English as unicorn and can sometimes be depicted as having a single horn, though that was not always the case. The translation, however, is misleading as Qilin may be depicted as having two horns. In modern Chinese, one-horned beast is used for unicorns. A number of different Chinese mythical creatures can be depicted with a single horn, and a Qilin, even if depicted with one horn, would be called a one-horned Qilin in Chinese, not a unicorn. So yeah. Other cultural representations. Now, here's where we get into some interesting stuff. This is East Asia. Japan. Kirin, which has also come to be used as the modern Japanese word for giraffe, are similar to Qilin. Japanese art tends to depict the Kirin as more deer-like than in Chinese art. Alternatively, it is depicted as a dragon shaped like a deer, but with an ox's tail instead of a lion's tail. They are also often portrayed as partially unicorn-like in appearance, but with backwards curving horns. Korea. They have the Girin or Kirin is the Korean form of Qilin. It is described as a maned creature with the torso of a deer, and oxtail, and the hooves of a horse. The Girin were initially depicted as more deer-like, however, over time they may have transformed into more horse-like. They were one of the four divine creatures, along with the dragon, phoenix, and turtle. Green were extensively used in Korean royal and Buddhist arts. In modern Korean, the term Gurin is used for giraffes. So it's kind of stuck with a lot of the other cultures. Japan, Korea, they still use the word representing the Qilin for giraffe as China did at one point believe in the giraffes may be the Qilin. So yeah. Anyway, we also have Southeast Asia, Thailand. In Thailand, the Qilin is known as Qilin, um, and is a member of the pantheon of Thai Himapant forest mythical animals. It is most probable that the Qilin or Qilin was introduced into the pantheon under the influence of Tai Yai or Tai Yai. Again, I'm sorry for the pronunciations. Who came down from southern China to settle in Siam in ancient times. Siam is a corner country below China that is modern day, a number of modern day countries: Cambodia, Laos, Thailand. At one point, they were all together known as Siam. But the legend was probably incorporated into the Himapant legends of Siam in this manner. The Qilin is a mixture of various animals which come from different elemental environments, representing elemental magical forces present within the personified creature. Many of the Himapant animals actually represent what is that? Gods and devas of the celestial realms, and bodhisattvas who manifest as personifications which represent the true nature of each creature deity through the symbolism of the various body parts amalgamated into the design of the mythical creature. In Phra Afai Mani, the masterpiece epic poem of Sun Thorn Phu, a renowned poet of the 18th century, there is a monster that is Sud Sakorn's steed, one of the main characters in the epic. This creature is called Manin Mangkorn, or Selenite Dragon Horse, and it is depicted as it has a diamond fangs, selenite scales, and a birthmark on the tongue. It is a mixture of horse, dragon, deer antlers, fish scales, and faya nak tail, and has black sequins all over. And it resembles the Chinese Qilin. So yeah, this very chimeric monster, this mix of different forms, definitely seems to have had an impact on Asia. So yeah. Now, we bring this up because Qilin is the version that most people probably know. The Qilin, or Qilin, is a mythological creature in various East Asian cultures. Qilin from Dungeons and Dragons is a type of monster in D&D. Qilin, a type of elder dragon in Monster Hunter, which is where I know it from. I'm a big player of Monster Hunter, so yeah. And Qilin, a type of creature in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series. It is awesome. Usually, it's got places named after it. Qilin or Qilin, a city in the province of Qilin, China. And there is also Qilin, Croatia. And then we get into more different stuff. But yeah. And here we have from yokai.com a look at what some of the modern ideations have kind of made it look like. A horse with a horn, putting it very much in the same camp as a unicorn, even though we now understand that's not necessarily how it's actually conceived. But yeah. Here's the Monster Hunter version of Qilin. A very horse-like with the great one horn. Its great white manes and fur, and it's charged with actual electricity because it can let off from the horn blast of lightning. So yeah. And I've only seen it one time, but they do have a variant called Orochi Qilin, which instead of using lightning, it uses ice. So everywhere it steps, it leaves little spots of ice. Same with the regular Qilin, wherever it steps, it leaves like little traits of lightning. So yeah. But I thought we would talk about the Qilin, and so we get a good look at what it is, where the connection actually does come from. But I'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.